Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. All can hear?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi. You can mute all you want. Speak, then unmute. But one thing you cannot mute is your mind today. That one you cannot mute. Be alert, interact, learn from everybody. Okay? Okay, welcome to Agora Singapore Speakers Club. I'm Jeffrey, your host for this evening. Now, what's my role? Important, you know. My role is to manage this meeting. Okay, includes ensuring that the meeting starts on time, ends on time, because you respect time. Okay, and all items in the program are successfully carried out within the time allotted. Okay, the time now is about 6:30 p.m. Very good. Very short timing. Okay, right. Okay, we shall start the meeting now. And this is the program for the evening. We have the opening address later, okay, at 6:40. Okay, then it'll be a 30-minute segment on impromptu speeches. All are invited to speak. Okay, immediately after the opening address, you'll be invited to participate in this listening exercise. Okay, after the impromptu speech session, you have 5 awesome special speakers shall be presenting their prepared speeches. I shall be inviting volunteers to provide feedback for each of the 5 speakers. Okay. We shall take a 5-minute break at 8 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., we shall have the test. And the meeting shall end at about 9:30 p.m. after the closing address. Okay. To introduce the appointment holders. Okay. 1, the icebreaker session leader. And that's Carlson. Okay. Some of you who came in later, you might have missed this, but it's okay. And Carlson did a fantastic job. And Carlson graduated from Singapore Poly with a diploma in electronics and communications engineering. Okay, and further honed his support skills from the School of Hard Knocks. He enjoys solving problems and help others find a solution. With a motto of "you never try, you never know." He's always getting a kick out of the hands-on experience by getting his hands dirty. He has been in global customer support team, lead for more than 20 years, advisor for a global service team for on-site support in USA, Taiwan, China, Malaysia, Japan, Singapore. As a team lead, he must understand his teammates, and it's vital to make an effort to understand every individual well. He's now an international weight loss coach. He coaches clients to lose weight and gain back their health. As a coach, it's essential to know the prospect that you are coaching. To know your candidate, you need to break the ice by doing a quick introduction and getting to know each other. By getting to know the other party, you learn something new from him, from her every time, and to help them with their needs. Carlson is clearly a practitioner to his trade. If you want to know more about weight loss or even weight gain, contact him right away. Thank you, Carlson. And that's Carlson. Yes. Okay, actually, he has a nickname called Botak Superman because he's damn fit. Okay, next. Okay, 2, the etiquette and protocol master. And that's Shauna, who you just hear from her. Shauna is an accountant by training. Okay, having grown up in India and now living in Singapore, she's grateful for the many beautiful people and the many wonderful opportunities that she comes across here. She believes that nothing teaches better than one's own experience. Life is an experience of your own creation. To quote Mr. Gay, the mission is the journey. Always up for a challenge, she likes to stretch herself, and today she hopes that she will be able to remember much from the talks that were shared this evening, and that everyone will have a great time. Okay? All right. Okay. She believes that nothing teaches better than one's own experience. Okay? And thank you, Shauna. Come wave again, Shauna. Hi. And 3, without him, I think our show cannot go on. He's the video conference director, Willie Low. Willie is the president of Fuchun Toastmasters Club. He's very active in the Toastmasters movement. He's a visionary who's a pioneer for online Toastmasters Club meeting. Hi, Willie. Willie has a skill pick. Hi. Okay. Next, timekeeper. Timekeeper this evening is Kostov. Is Kostov in yet? Nope. I think he'll be in soon. But anyway, I think we have always a backup. Okay. Now, Kostov, who wears different hats depending on day of the week and time of the day. He's closely associated with the Singapore startup ecosystem and from a pole position. He experienced this exciting role our little red dot is playing on the world entrepreneurship map. He built health technology startup after leaving his corporate career. Later, he guided a venture capital fund to grow their investment base in Asian startups. He also advised more than 25 startups refining their digital product lineup and funding strategies. On his free time, he engages with founders and budding entrepreneurs, discussing and brainstorming technological solutions to address their mundane business challenges. I think he'll come on soon. Now, the focus of the meeting today. Focus for tonight is back to basics. Okay, we shall be focused on our feedback. Whether the speaker told us what he promised to tell us, and whether the content of the speech makes sense, and whether the body leads logically to the conclusion. So remember these 3 points. The speaker, what he promised to tell us, the content makes sense or not, okay, and the body, whether it's logical to the conclusion. All right. And audience, what's your role? Yeah, give us the friendship and the love. Provide the nurturing and supportive environment. Okay, we all need that, right? And really, Agora here is a very safe, wonderful environment. Okay? We encourage the speakers by clapping our hands when the speakers are introduced, clapping our hands when the speakers have finished speaking, and to smile. Smile, very important. Okay? Smile at the speakers and nod our heads when we agree. Okay. Next, inviting Casey Chen for the opening address. Okay? Casey graduated from RMIT for Bachelor of Design and have been doing designs, arts, and branding work for more than 25 years. Although he still looks like 25 years old, his works are used in many companies, brands like 1855, The Bottle Shop, Rocher, and Nestle International. He's an author, a painter, a sculptor, and designer. Casey has spoken as a key speaker in numerous design and arts festivals and local and international design events. He enjoys his daily work as a brand consultant and also helping many in their personal grooming. He has been with Agora's club since the club started in Singapore, Mr. Gay, 3 years ago. He had held the roles of being an MC, timekeeper, and he also delivered prepared and impromptu speeches. Currently, he's serving as Vice President of the Education in Agora SpeakersClub, Singapore. Right, okay, let us give a warm welcome to Casey. Hey, Casey.
Good evening, everybody. The reason why I'm on a cab, right, it is because, you know, the saloon just started and the queue is too long for me. Right, once again, another week passes. Good evening, members, new friends, old friends, overseas friends, speakers tonight. President, Mr. Gay Van Ping. Thank you. It is so wonderful that this lockdown had led us to be able to connect people from all over the world. And I want to welcome those who have connected with us tonight from overseas, and you're welcome. It's a privilege to be serving as a Vice President Education of Agora Singapore. I want to thank the President for entrusting me and training me. And yes, there's a lot of training here. Now, the last time I shared with you about riding a bike, tonight I'm going to share with you about a journey. Journey to the West. In the journey to the West, there's the monk, there's a piggy, there's another guy called Sha Wu-Jing, and the Monkey King. This is a familiar story to most of us, but for those who do not know the story, the piggy, Sha Wu-Jing, and the Monkey King were to set the mission with the monk, journey to the West to receive the sutra from a temple. Now, during the journey, they're often attacked by demons, robbers who want the life of the monk. Then, the monkey, who always the one who protects everyone from dangers, because the Monkey King has superpowers. He can turn things so big and he can turn things so small, super strength, and he can fly. sounds like a monkey Superman indeed. The monkey told the monk, "Let me please use my power. And in a blink, we can reach the west, save the journey, and save the trouble of getting attacked. We can save our life." And the monk said wisely, "Monkey, it is not the sutra that will give us the life lessons, but the journey itself. The journey is the mission." As what mentioned many times by Shona, the journey indeed is the mission. In Agora, the journey we have taken over so many months are never smooth. We plan and strive for 3 good years and able to say that we are happy, and yet we want to do better. I wish and hope everyone here will join me in this journey, that we will find our purpose to inspire and to empower. The work that you volunteered for Agora meetings is a training you took on to be better than yourself. And I wish many will come volunteer for making the program even more exciting. Please, more speakers, welcome to share your experiences. In Agora, we focus on helping people become the practitioner. We focus on efficiency-ness. We are a community of friends helping friends succeed. We are Club 39, Agora Singapore Speakers Club, and we welcome you tonight for another wonderful meeting. Thank you very much. Back to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Casey. Come, everybody practice clapping. Part of our environment today, right? Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. Great. Okay. Next. Okay. We have our impromptu speaking session. Okay. This is our first session today, impromptu speaking session. The time allowed for this segment is 30 minutes. Okay. Is Kostov here as a timekeeper? No. Okay,
Carlson.
Yes, okay, Carlson will be the timekeeper to help out today. All right, okay. Okay, time allowed for this segment is 30 minutes, and we are still very, very on time, and I'm watchful for that. Okay, at 20 minutes, the green light will be flashed. Okay, at 25 minutes, the yellow light. At 30 minutes, the red light, and the sessions will end within 30 seconds after the red come on. Okay.
You mean 2 minutes and 3 minutes, or 30 minutes?
This is for the whole segment. Okay, right? Okay, at 30 minutes, 30 seconds, audio device will sound and the session end immediately. Okay, right? Okay. Now the important session will be conducted by Denise Ong. Denise has just completed her first year in NUS Business School, and she joined us last June. She did an introduction to Canva a few months back after discovering this wonderful free designing tool that even non-designers can use. Denise is also a scholar under the Singapore National Cooperative Federation, which is governed by MCCUI, and she hopes to make a positive impact on society in the future by working in a cooperative like NTUC. Cooperatives are regulated social enterprises, and they can be run either for profit or non-profit with the goal of achieving a society or economic aid. She's still exploring her options in school, but for now, she's leaning towards marketing and technology. Feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn. All right? Right. Without further ado, let's welcome Denise. Hi. I think she looks very young. She's a young lady here.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. Yes.
So, yeah, thank you for the introduction. Actually, fun fact, I just started my internship with SNCF today. So it's part of the scholarship requirements lah. And yeah, it's been very interesting day today. So without further ado, right, I'm gonna share my screen and we can begin the segment. Yes, okay, great. So this is the Agora's impromptu speech segment, and these are going to be, these are the rules for Wait, okay. These are the rules for tonight's this evening's impromptu speech segment. So everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So we are ready, and please be accepting of others' perspectives. And each speaker has only 2 minutes to share their thoughts. 2 minutes because we want you to be able to reply to questions on the spot. So it's like, when someone asks you, can you introduce this person, or can you share more about this, or can you tell me what's keeping you busy these days? And you can't just freeze there and then expect like the person to go away, or you also cannot expect yourself to just give a one-word answer and then the person will be like, okay, so you need to continue talking. And then 2 minutes is enough time for you to share one point, and you can also tell your story, or you can give enough reasons to explain why you are believing in this thought or what happened during this event. Also, the last thing is you may only answer one question in this segment because the following questions will be very interesting. I find them interesting myself, so we're gonna start. There are 2 types of the questions. So one is either to make a point, mostly it's a yes/no kind of question, and another is to tell a story. So I'm gonna start with question 1. Question 1. What is one valuable skill or thing that you learned beyond your school education? If you are interested to answer this question, you may either raise your hand using the raise hand function, or you can put me in the chat box. Yes. Okay, the host, can you help to facilitate this?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll help you to facilitate. I saw the hand of Mr. Kapil.
Yeah. One valuable skill which I learned beyond school was learning how to learn. My parents sent me to school to learn, but during the process of education, like all through 12 years in school and 3 years or 4 years of bachelor's education and 2 years of master education, no one entered in the class and taught me a subject called learning how to learn. I waited for all these years, learn that how should I learn? Like that's what my parents sent me there. They didn't send me there to learn facts about things, to learn history, and just mugging up things, learning facts didn't made me independent. But when I realized that I could learn anything, and with this concept of learning how to learn, I can learn any subject. If I am able to read 3 books on a subject, I would really be able to understand the subject. But they didn't teach me that. So one most valuable thing which I learned beyond school education was how to teach myself how to learn. So that's the skill I learned, which the school never taught me. Thank you.
Nice one. So actually you answered in less than 2 minutes, which is quite amazing because from the way I heard your story and how you explained it's quite good. And I also agree because like I just finished my first year, and actually most of the time they will throw you content, but it doesn't mean that you will absorb it straight away. And I really agree with what you say. So next, can the host pick another person to answer this question?
Yes. Lawrence, raise hand. Lawrence, over to you.
Sure.
Denise, next question.
Okay. Actually, if you are interested to answer question 1, you can also answer question 1. If not, I will go to the next one. Should both parents take equal responsibility for raising their children?
The truth is, now on reflection, parents never learn how to take care of their children. This is an assumption. Because parents from different backgrounds will obviously teach their children differently. So it's not an easy thing to say whether the father should take the responsibility or the mother, because I don't think they have even discussed about it. Here, maybe with my own example, I mean, I didn't deliberately talk to my wife or tell her how should. So I teach my daughter. And also, as I reflect also on my own parents, because there's no school for parenting. How do you train your children? What to teach them? How to guide them? Do you have a central principle or any truth you want to guide them in? No. So the challenge is, and if you have read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, children could be from a poor family, from a rich family. And obviously the teaching will be different. Whether a family of professional, a family of business people. So it's really not an easy task. A lot of this is still trial and error. Reflect back on your own parents. And can you say honestly you're the best parents? I can't say that. But on reflection, I know where I did right, where I did wrong. So it's always a challenge. A challenge first thing, to parents take the trouble to study, to learn, how do I train my child? How do I educate my child? And let me tell you, most parents do. Even for those that are rich, that could be staying in landed property. They don't have time to take care of their child. So it's no easy task. And most important, do they have enough patience and love and to be willing to learn themselves, to teach the child. And there to admit to the child they are wrong. Not all parents are right. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with your point also. Actually, my parents have also told me that there's no clear cut or like there's no cookie cutter way of raising a kid in the first place. Every child is unique in their own way. Parents are also children once, they are also unique. So there's and everyone's principles, their preferences, even diet, not everyone has the same kind of diet. So yes, I do agree. It really depends on trial and error. And then but ultimately, we can also understand that parents want the best for their children. So thank you for your speech. I'm going to move on to question 3. So if anyone's interested in answering question 2, you may raise your hand now and then the host will help to call. If not, I'll move on in the next 5 seconds.
We have Marvin that next.
Next now? Okay. This is a very happy one. So share with us one happy thing that happened recently.
The day is very fabulous for me that I know about a bit more about the nutrition, whether it's absorbed in your body through the intestine, which is something that I'm not aware of. And I think the last Wednesday sharing, I also share about eating one biscuit is called about 50 calories, which I never even considered about it before. So with more knowledge about how to in calorie intake, I hope that in the near future I can embark my goal to slim down to 50 kg.
So yeah, I'm quite I also agree how that sometimes we don't know how digestion actually happens. So I think it's a good recap for you. So I'll move on to the next question. This one is also another contentious one. So if you don't have a dog, then like you can answer and give another answer on what you think a man's best friend is. So in case anyone cannot see the screen, I'll just read it out. So a dog is a man's best friend. Do you agree with this? What or who else do you think is a man's best friend? So if anyone's interested, please raise your hand or put in a chat box that you are interested to answer. Thank you.
Okay, I have to say that I agree with that statement. A dog is a man's best friend. Actually, if you look at the name dog, it's actually God spelled backwards. So if you spell G-O-D backwards, you get dog. And I'm actually speaking from experience. I used to own a dog. but unfortunately has passed away, and that's really broke my heart. I'll tell you why he's my best friend, because he waits for me when I come home, and he's so excited to see me. He's more excited to see me than my own children or my wife. So you can imagine that she looks forward to seeing me, and I look forward to seeing her. And she always waits for me when I come back from work. And sometimes when I'm traveling, he will still wait by the door, waiting for me to come home. And then my wife has to come down and tell her, Casey, Papa is not coming home tonight. So no point waiting for him. See? So that's why he's my best friend. Thank you.
That is so nice. I also want a dog. Like the way that you say is like even if you have a bad day at work, and then can you imagine like you come home, the first thing you see is an excited dog waiting to see you, waiting to just show you its affection. Oh, I also want. What a nice experience. So just curious, does anyone not think that a dog is a man's best friend?
Neither my best friends all are dogs. Yeah, really. Yeah, if a dog is my best friend, every moment I have a dog with me, right? Now, I believe that for best friends, we've gone through our phases of life. At any point in time, in your phase of life, you got your best friends among you, with you. They learn with, learn from, social bonding, help you to grow together. During my formative years, when I was a kid, I got my best friends. None of them are dogs. Were dogs. Also in my army, I got my army buddies. Well, what we call in Chinese are 出生入死. We sleep together, we dig our graves, dig our trenches together. Yes, help each other. As I get into university, and a bunch of friends. As I get into my different careers, my colleagues, sometimes at the moment, they're really my best friends coming on. They are not talking about colleagues, happy colleagues, but really it's beyond working relationship. Coming on to care, to support. Okay, so that's why I believe that really best friends, at any point in time, things move. And you got different circle of friends. And of course, that's why at that point in time, as your life phases change, it's just another part of your life. You got another bunch of best friends at another context. Just in Agora, where are my best friends? Here, in context, living with everybody. So in that sense, and definitely you're not all of you are not dogs. We are all people having fun, enjoying the living with each other. But if I'm at the dining table, wow, and how much a best friend. But without everybody, you know who's my best friend? My phone is my best friend. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. You finished within 2 minutes, actually like 10 seconds earlier. So I think it's quite good.
Good,
yeah. So yeah, good job. I actually also agree that friends are mostly our best friends, and yes, the phone is definitely one of our best friends. I think, right, the phone is probably children's best friends right now. Like you wake up and then you can see like some children just cry for the phone, and then they don't have it, they just start crying even more. Yeah, and then parents also start using phones as the baby pacifier. So like they just watch, and then it could be their best friend. And then at work, right, if you don't know anything, you just go to Google, and then maybe people can say Google is my best friend. So I agree with your points, and I also agree with Thomas' points that both sides, they also make sense. So I will now be moving on to the next question. Okay, hold on. Okay, next one, question 5. Okay, this one is especially relevant to people who love to read. So, fiction cannot teach us anything about living in the real world. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree that fiction cannot teach us in the real world. What can teach us in the real world is our experiences with someone that really can help us get through our up and down moment in our life. I say, I really appreciate that I have a wonderful mom who really teach me a lot of things. When I was young, she shared her life story. So she really helped me to imagine what had happened in her life during the very tough time. So from her story, I really learned a very great lesson that whatever we want to achieve, we have to struggle. There is no freelance. So I learned that have to sacrifice in order to achieve one thing. So there is a great lessons. And also, she always share her story, that from her story, I can learn a lot of things, even though my mom is not a very well-educated woman. But her thinking, her way of life, how when she was very young, she has to struggle by that time during the colonial time. So in order to survive, she has to fight among the elderly people in order to earn her living by that time. So I really feel that what we have to experience is can help us get through. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. I also agree that experiences are more valuable than fiction at times. And it sounds like your mom has actually gone through a lot and she has imparted to you a lot of useful and helpful stories as well. So with that, right, I am going to conclude this segment.
Very fun session. Everybody's so forthcoming, right? Yes. Come, let's invite Carlson, okay, to give us the timer's report.
The timer's report is 20 minutes exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, we are on time again. Okay, I have such an engaging session. Okay, right. Okay, and Kaustov is logged in already, and he'll be in charge for us for all the timing. Okay, for each of the speeches. Okay. Okay, and the timekeeping announcement. There are two persons helping out. Kaustov, or KD down there, the handsome guy, and Mary, the pretty lady. Okay, okay, right. Okay, and let me introduce Mary Tan. Okay, time allowed for this time is 5 minutes for time announcement. Mary is a veteran in the building industries, in there for 35 years. Her passion for building materials earned her a social degree in excelling in sales to Changi Airport, Singapore, while they were building Terminal 1, 2, and 3. She traveled extensively for her work, especially to Italy for procurement and other parts of Europe and China. She loves organizing events and able to bring a massive network of business partners and friends to work together and enabling the trust with each other to work together in different projects. Oh, she's learning a new skill in art, like acrylic art, terrariums, and even baking.
I'm Mary Tan. This announcement is about the integrity of your time. You want to make sure you'll be successful, not just in Agora's meeting, but also outside Agora. We will mute you when your time is up. Rather, you make these mistakes and be corrected in the meeting than you make a mistake when you're handling the real world. There are chances here, but may not have them out there. Speakers are responsible for practicing to make sure their speech is given the time given. Please note the following. 1. Instruct the time allotted and the color sequence. We will use the 7-minute speeches, for example. The time allowed is 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, the green part will be flash. Raise your hands if you can see the timing device on the screen. Spotlight controller. Please spotlight the timing device for 3 seconds at the 5 minutes mark. Wave to me if you understand my instruction to spotlight. Thank you. At 6 minutes, yellow card. Spotlight controller, please spotlight the timing device for 3 seconds at the 6 minutes mark. Wave to me if you understand my instruction to spotlight. Thank you. At 7 minutes, red card. Spotlight controller, please spotlight the timing device for 3 seconds at 7 minutes mark. Wave to me if you understand my instruction to spotlight. Thank you. At 7 minutes 30 seconds, your microphone will be muted. The microphones of the speakers will be muted at 7 minutes 30 seconds. Thank you. I wish everyone be empowered and enjoy the rest of the evening. Let me pass our time back to Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Okay, to prepare the audience, how to give feedback to each of the speakers. Okay, we'll invite 2 volunteers. Each volunteer will be required to share his or her observations, specific area of the speech. So 1 speaker, 2 evaluator. Evaluator number 1 will address these questions. What did the speaker want? What did the speaker get? Did the speaker achieve what he set out to do? What advice would you like to share with the speaker? Okay. Evaluator number 2 will address these following questions. Time. How much time did the speaker spend on the opening? How much time did he spend on each segment of the body? How much time did he spend on the conclusion? Okay. What advice would you like to share with the speaker? Okay. And all these are 7-minute speeches. Okay. And the timer will stop on the dot for 7 minutes. All right. And then that's where we learn to speak within the time. All right. Okay. Now, for prepared speech number 1 is by Betty. Okay. I'll invite 2 speakers, 2 volunteers to provide feedback to the first speaker. Okay. Okay. First one, evaluator number 1, we have Angela. Is Angela locked in yet? I'm not too sure. Yes, I went through my screen panel. I couldn't see her. I think, yes, I think, why not? We have 2 persons to volunteer. Anybody who would like to be the evaluator? Okay, I think these questions, Casey has also put for everybody in the chat box. So you can reference that while you listen to the speech. Okay, can I have 2 volunteers, please? If not, I will assign. Okay. Okay. Again, Betty is a retiree and a volunteer trainer with a non-profit organization singularly focused on empowering women to age well by staying healthy, by being financially secure and staying socially engaged. Her last job was a senior VP in Citibank with more than 20 years of regional experience in operations, leadership, project management, and training. The time allowed for each speech is 7 minutes. At the 5 minutes, the green lights will be flashed. 6 minutes, yellow light. 7 minutes, red lights. Okay. At 7 minutes 30 seconds, the audio will be muted and the speaker has to end his speech. Okay? All right. Keep to the timing.
Jeff?
Ready to conclude near 7 minutes. Now, about the topic. The world was once not aware of the possibility of radio, mobile, phone, satellites, and other form of cordless communication via long-distance towers or satellites and transfer messages. Are you aware that life force, or Qi, can connect living human beings and transfer thoughts? Oh, sounds alien. Distance healing is any form of energy sent across time and space that's received and has a healing effect on the recipient. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Betty Teo to speak to us on the topic, distance healing. Does it really work? Okay, Betty, over to you.
Yes, a very good evening to MC and President of the club. A very good evening to ladies and gentlemen. In 2010, I was suffering so much pain on my left elbow. I was under the care of Raffles Medical Group, but my life continued to be filled with pain and misery. A year later, I met a stranger. He offered to heal my pain without touching me from a distance. The healing took 10 minutes, and I didn't pay much attention, though I saw him waving his hands in the air, far at the corner of one room. The next morning, I was feeling both physically and emotionally good. The pain was gone. I was completely cured. It took me 3 months to hunt the stranger down. I found out he was a pranic healer, and I immediately signed up for the pranic healing workshop. I wanted to learn more. What is distant healing? Does it really work? Ladies and gentlemen, you see, all beings are interconnected through the energy field of the earth. It's similar to making a telephone call. You are able to reach out to the other party because your telephone line is linked to the other party's telephone line. Similarly, the healer and the subject are interconnected because their energy bodies are part of the earth etheric bodies. The healing is remote. It means the recipient need not be physically present in front of the healer. This evening, I'm happy to share with you 3 of my distant healing experiences with you. Story number 1. In 2012, I received a call from my daughter. She was studying in Ohio, USA. She said, "Mom, my nose is bleeding non-stop. My room looks like a place. My white blanket is covered with blood. I try to tilt my head forward, pinching my nostrils, applying pressure, but the blood keeps flowing. What can I do?" Panic. It is past midnight. It's minus 33 degrees outside. I heard everything. I was panicked. I quickly ran to take out my pranic healing book and applied the nosebleed healing process. After 10 minutes of healing, I hear Clara said, "Bleeding has stopped. Love you, Mommy. I have to go. I have to clean up the room." I felt a sense of relief. It's almost unbelievable. This is my first long-distance healing, and it works. Story number 2. Maggie was my golf kaki. Her brother was 50 years old and had been emotionally disturbed after the passing of the younger brother. Needless to say, David was devastated by the loss of his brother. Maggie requested me to help David out of his depression and suicidal thoughts. He is the breadwinner in the family. He has to support his wife and 2 young children. After 3 weeks of distant healing, I saw his condition improve. David has become more emotionally balanced. He is totally free from attempted suicide. And he's even gone back to work. I was extremely happy about it. By clearing the stuck and unbalanced energy in the body and connection of past relationship, David was able to get healed and move on. Distant healing works. I was inspired to learn more. Story number 3. I met William, an army officer, in 2013. He was studying part-time traditional Chinese medicine in his 5th year, we call the TCM. William was having chronic shoulder pain for 5 years. His TCM master treated him, but the pain persistently came back every week. William had to resort to pain relief plaster we call goyok to relieve his pain. Though William was very doubtful about distant healing, he was eager to try out to relieve his pain. I agreed to do one session for him. The next day, William posted in his Facebook that he was amazed that his chronic shoulder pain was completely gone and that he could feel the prana of the chi during the distant healing, which he had not experienced before in his 5 years of TCM training. He was overjoyed, he was overwhelmed with joy and immediately signed up for the pranic healing workshop. To complement his TCM studies, distant healing works, I was inspired to practice even more. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 10 years now. I am still practicing distant healing. Pranic distant healing is being practiced in over 120 countries over the world, including USA, Canada, UK, Australia, Germany, Switzerland, Middle East, India, Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines. There are plenty of medical doctors over the world who use distant healing effectively in their profession. Regardless of where people live and how busy their schedule might be, people who try have been blown away by the results. Let's recall my 3 stories. Story 1, Clara's nosebleed. Distant healing is a perfect solution in emergency situation when healing has to start immediately for your loved ones, miles away from home. Story number 2, David's depression. Through distant healing, you can release the stuck energy and free someone from past relationship to heal emotional ailments. Story number 3, distant healing unblocks energy and restores vitality and flow and transform life. My dear friends, give yourself time and opportunity to learn and understand how it works. Our hands are one of the most amazing tools we are gifted with. You can transform your hands into wonderful healing instruments to heal yourself and your loved ones and others. Distant healing, it really works. Thank you.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Betty, for this new knowledge that we've, I think, learned. Distant healing. It's more than just a phone call away. It can heal. Right. Okay. Okay. We'll invite Mary to present the timer's report.
No, Carlson.
Carlson present timer's report. Yeah. See?
Actually, he has already shown it 6 minutes, 45 seconds.
Okay. I think, yeah, we saw it visually. Okay. I will present the timer's report. Why not? Okay. 6 minutes, 46 seconds. Actually, you got 7 minutes and not 30 more seconds. So there's a lot of buffer for you. Very good. Considered nearly on time and make full use of the time. Okay. Now I invite the volunteers to provide feedback to Betty. Okay. And the time allowed for each volunteer, we have 2, right? Dinah and Bhavesh. Okay. Time allowed for each volunteer is 3 minutes. 3 minutes. At the first minute, end of first minute, the green light will be on. 2 minutes, yellow light. And 3 minutes, the red light. Once you see red, audio device will sound, okay, at the 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and the volunteer has to complete feedback after the red light in 30 seconds. Okay, right. So here, each volunteer, Dinah and Bhavesh, remember your focus for evaluator 1 and also for the evaluator 2. Okay, and after each of them has presented their feedback, I'll ask for the timer's report. Okay. And if there's some more time, okay, we can all share our views. Okay. Right. So without further ado, okay, let's Dinah, please share your feedback. Thank you very much.
Okay, what did the speaker want? It's actually it helps to achieve it helps and get what he wants to achieve at the end. And he tends to help people to influence people to approach on this distant healing, not only help for depression. And I think the main thing on this distant healing, the person itself believe and trust on her methods that works, that attracts the law of attractions that really works on everyone. Yeah, that's my point of view on is on her speech. Yeah, that's what I try my best to actually don't know whether I answer the questions.
Do you have any advice to share with the speaker on the speech?
Any advice? I could say that she speak to the main point of distant healing, and also give example how does the distant healing works, and she really attracts the attention on all about these distant healings within 6 minutes. Yeah, so I think it's a good point to actually touch up on this, like just 6 minutes to tell everything with experience, and also what he wanted to pick up to tell people. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dinah, for your feedback. Okay, right, next we have Bhavesh.
Yeah. Hi, first of all, I would like to apologize that my video camera isn't working today. So I just have to connect with you from the audio version.
Right, no problem. Yes, come on. We are all excited to hear about your feedback.
All right, so the speaker was really articulate as she comprised all of her personal accounts into 7 minutes. So the speaker did her introduction in about 1 minute and around 50 seconds, and then the supporting arguments were presented. And at the last, in around 1 minute 30 seconds, she concluded what is the crux of the topic. So the first thing that I really liked about the speaker was that she presented her personal accounts that actually gripped all the audience member to listen to her very passionately. She presented her viewpoint and how it personally impacted her. One thing that I want to suggest to the speaker is that she basically touched upon how distant healing is practiced across the world in US, India. In the end part of the discussion, in the last 1 minute, that should have been placed at the in the introduction, so that more credibility can be offered to the topic that she is discussing upon, because we see a lot of practices like Reiki, etc., being practiced across Japan, Middle East, and even India for that matter, which have historical context attached with them. So that could have been touched a little, a little more credibility could have been built from a bird eye point of view towards the topic itself. But overall, the speaker did really well in articulating, and it helped us understand the crux of what distant healing is, which actually is the flow of energy, which a lot of people, a lot of philosophers have been talking about since ages. And that's something that I really like.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Bhavesh. Now for the second speech, okay, by Thomas Tan. Now, Thomas is a very academic person. Even though when you speak to him, you may not think so. Nevertheless, regardless of what you think, he has a double degree in engineering and business finance. He spent his early years working for an MNC, and the only NMC because he loves the office politics and the backstabbing, the first-class training provided, and the obscene money they are willing to pay for talent. His hobbies since his semi-retirement includes forest bathing, playing golf, traveling, and investing in clean energy. The unfortunate recent events of being cooped up in his home for so many days has fired back up his passion for stock market trading. He's blaming the PAP government for going back to this high-risk pastime. Oh, he does understand artificial intelligence, AI, having been involved with a local startup in this field and personal interest in SG technology. Please welcome the one and only Mr. Thomas Tan. Okay, and the rules apply for the time. 5 minutes, green lights will be flashed. 6 minutes, the yellow light. 7 minutes, the red light. And at 7 minutes, 30 seconds sharp, the audio will be muted, and the speaker has to end his speech. Okay, artificial intelligence. What does it mean? How will it impact you? Is your life going to be better when this technology abounds? Okay, please welcome Thomas to speak to us on this topic. With AI, is your job really secure? Okay, without further ado, Thomas, take over the stage.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening. Tonight, I'm going to share with you artificial intelligence. Is your job safe? I hope that after this talk, you will do a little bit of a check on your profession, on your job, and see whether it's still secure a few years down the road. In 1956, an American computer scientist called John McCarthy coined the phrase artificial intelligence. And since then, if he was still alive today, he would have realized that destruction to industry and destruction of jobs is coming. Artificial intelligence is coming of age. And we need to plan and be wise to handle this brave new world that's going to come upon us. The media, the industry always portray artificial intelligence as non-threatening. They are like, to a lot of us, they are like puppies. They're so cute, you know, so harmless. But the artificial intelligence that we have there, when I talk about factory automation, you know, these are really very low level machine intelligence. And this low level machine intelligence is going to change very soon. And why do I say that? Because artificial intelligence is going to grow into something really, really vicious. And it's going to impact all of us. There's actually even a machine language software called Python. And that's where I got this idea of a Python, something that is to be feared. Now, you must understand that AI, we have to respect AI and perhaps be careful of it, but it cannot be stopped. The motion has started. You may ask, oh, but AI has been around for 60 over years since John McCarthy coined the phrase AI. But it's not the same. What I'm going to share to you later is to show you how AI has evolved. AI, the way you know it, and the AI that's going forward is going to be very, very different. But you ask, why now? You see, like a potted plant, if I can use this analogy. A potted plant is always constrained by the volume of soil and is always in a pot. It is actually stunted in its growth. It cannot really fulfill its full potential. Plant, and you plant it on the ground, especially if it's a tree, it's going to grow really, really big. And what is going to be the game changer, if you ask? And it is called 5G. I know everyone is very aware of this new technology called 5G. But if you think of 3G as a primary school standard, so 4G is actually primary 4. So the natural conclusion is that 5G is primary 5. But I hate to tell you this, 5G is equivalent to a master education at Cambridge. So you can see the quantum leap between 4G and 5G. So the thing we ask ourselves, so 5G is actually a misnomer. It gives you the impression that, oh, since we are in 4G, we are going to 5G, no big deal. But I want to emphasize to you again that 5G is a quantum leap of disproportion. For one thing, it is super fast. It's 100 times faster than what you have now in 4G. And this kind of speed is required by artificial intelligence machines. And low latency, human-like response for 4 milliseconds. And what do you understand by low latency? When you speak of low latency, you're talking about especially when you watch on TV and people interview each other, they say, wow, you know, it takes a few seconds for them to respond. That's called low latency. Now, the 5 industry I see that was going to explode, there's more than this, of course, but I think I'm talking in the context of Singapore. Transportation, warehousing and logistics, last mile delivery, hotel industry, and security industry. But due to time constraint, I'm only going to cover one, transportation. Many of you have heard of autonomous vehicle, driverless vehicle. Singapore has actually already embarked on it. The driverless bus is being tested in Sentosa right now. And 5G is going to be the contributing factor to it. So within 3 years of implementation, you're going to see 70,000 people in the industry will be made redundant. And the first one to go will be bus captain. The second one, truck driver, PHVL driver, and taxi driver. So this is going to be a very big chunk of it. And when you think about your future, you must ask yourself, how is your job impacted? Because this technology is such that now the machine are able to connect faster and be able to interact much, much better. You must spread the word and share with everyone the new age that is about to come. Thank you.
Finish just on time. 7 minutes, 30 seconds, near there. Right, 8 seconds to spare, buffer. Okay, now we invite the volunteers to provide feedback. And first to go, Chang Lim, ready for you.
Thank you very much
For your feedback.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you again, Thomas, for your speech. So what did the speaker want? Let's start off. The gist of the speech is that AI is bad because it brings about death and destruction and automation of jobs that normally humans do. So eventually, his main point is that our livelihoods will be eroded. And what causes this? This is caused by rapid developments, especially in the 5G, which is like 100 times better than 4G and 3G. So the message that Thomas has brought across is that AI is coming fast, and it's going to have a negative impact on our lives. So did he manage to convey this? I think he did a good job. He describes AI and where the term started from, and then he explained some programming language and how it's getting faster and faster, and that's the reason why we have to keep on our toes. And also, as the most important part, the relevant sectors that are affected by this development in 5G, things like automation, warehouse logistics, and delivery systems. So I'm pretty sure we have like taken a cab, taken a bus, ordered food online, received your packages in the mail. So all these jobs have the potential to be eroded. So I think Thomas did a good job in lining out the framework. So what is AI? Then why is it getting serious now? And the people who are going to be affected. So did Thomas say he did a good job in achieving this with his framework. And, sorry? Okay. So my advice for Thomas would be, maybe you can, instead of just ending it on the note where we need to inform people about all this, maybe we can include, cannot use the word maybe, perhaps we can include some tips like, should we avoid these sectors, or what can we do to prevent this development from impacting us? Is it just like, oh, I don't want 5G anymore, no, Singapore cannot have 5G, or is it some kind of regulation where we can say, okay, 5G is good, but we got to protect ourselves as well? So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you very much again, Thomas, and back to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you very much, Chong Lin. Right, while 5G is coming on, we ourselves can be 6G. Who cares what? Life goes on. Okay, right, next, we invite Angela, okay, to give us, share us the evaluation feedback. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you very much for this most interesting, thought-provoking speech, Thomas. I think we're all interested in this because you're asking us a question at the beginning: is your future safe? And I would like to see, the same as the first evaluator, what the answers to this are. Now, I'm asked to look at the beginning, the middle, and the end. How much time was spent on the beginning? I would have liked slightly more time on John McCarthy, possibly a picture of him, his name spelled out, so I could look him up, and are there any books written about him, and what was he dealing with at the time? And I would also, as the first evaluator said, the most interesting thing was the bit that was rushed at the end, because this is where I want to know, is my future safe? What other jobs should I be training in? Are we all going to be going into service industries, dealing with people who are saying, my item has not arrived, where has the robot taken it? And then they might look at the listing and say, oh, well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lansbury, your item has definitely been delivered to London. And I would say, yes, but I'm not in London. Well, you haven't updated your address. So is it going to be a service industry that we're going to instead? This is the point at which I get really interested. And if so, what should I be training myself in if I'm going to lose my job, say, as a taxi driver or an airline stewardess or a receptionist for a taxi? How should I be training myself? What sort of pupils am I going to be training? If I'm going to be in Toastmasters, who will I be training? What kind of people, what training will they need? So the bit that was rushed at the end is the bit where I suddenly got really interested, because I didn't want to know people are afraid or not afraid. I want to know hard facts. What do I do next? my call to action. All in all, a great potential for another speech. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Angela. And incidentally, Angela is a writer, is into books. No wonder she wants to read more. John McCarthy, right? Yes, she's very curious. She loves to read so that she can write more. Okay, all right. I think we are doing very well on time. We have done 2 speeches. Okay, okay. All right, as I mentioned, the set of questions are in the chat box as a guide for you to construct your evaluation feedback. Okay. Now, about margarita bread. During the 5 minutes break, we talk about Luxembourg, about the 15 degrees they are so jealous and envy of. Yes, that's Margarita living in Luxembourg now, okay, Europe. She has public speaking experience and wants to improve. She's a mother. We saw her kid, and is also a busy professional. She works in publishing. She loves languages. She works for the European Union. Okay. Now, about this topic, she has 7 minutes, 30 seconds to complete. Okay, I think the timing we are very familiar, but let me repeat again. 5 minutes, the green light will flash. 6 minutes, the yellow light. 7 minutes, the red. And at 7 minutes, 30 seconds, the audio will be muted and the speaker has to end his speech at 7 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, now, what's the topic about? Would you want to learn something about Luxembourg in Europe? How big is Luxembourg? What are its official languages? And who lives there beside Margarita? Okay, Margarita will also talk about the lockdown there. Okay, right. So here's, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Margarita, and the topic for her will be, what will you learn today about Luxembourg? Okay, take over the stage. Welcome, Margarita.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening, dear club president, dear vice presidents, dear club officers, dear Jeffrey, the organizers. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting. It's a pleasure to learn from the best, and I'm mostly impressed by your contributions and by the improvements I can see over the screen. And it is so good to be among winners and to share your success. For tonight, the suggestion was that I would present Luxembourg and how the lockdown is being lived by us over here. And can I just start by sharing my screen? It's my first time that I try to do something alike, and I hope it works. Apparently, it works, I think. And I was wondering, can you find Luxembourg on the map? Because it's so tiny that sometimes we just miss it. You can see my screen, can you, or not? Or still not?
Can.
You can, fantastic. And so the question is, can you find it on the map? Can you see the borders on the next screen? If I would know how this works. Not so bad.
Yes, we can.
I wanted to change screen. Ah, there it is. So the borders of Luxembourg are with Germany, which is one of the biggest countries in Europe, France in the south, and Belgium in the west. And then Luxembourg has an area of about 2,500 square meters, which is the whole country is about 3.5 times bigger than Singapore. But in terms of population, Luxembourg has about 610,000 inhabitants, and figure out Singapore has 9 times more than we have, with only 3 times the surface. So it's very empty here. We love it. In terms of time zone, so it's 6 hours behind your time. It's 1 hour ahead of UK time. The currency, so the money we have in our pockets, is euros. And Luxembourg has 3 official languages, which are French, German, and Luxembourgish. But English Portuguese, how to spoke, and it was nearly the communications in the lockdown, also in English and Portuguese, because there's been lots of resistance to having those languages. We have, Luxembourg has been invaded over the centuries by the Spanish, by the French, by the Germans in the Second World War. So they were so fed up of the Germans and the French, you can imagine, that at some stage they were able to create the European Union, meaning that since then there's been at least 60 years of peace in Western Europe, which is very pleasant for every one of us. The European Union is a group of 27 member states, and you've heard of Brexit. So Brexit, we used to be 28, and now we lost one, so 27. And this allows that these small nations like Luxembourg, as you see this tiny, tiny dot on the map, can have a voice internationally, which is quite practical, isn't it? Otherwise, they call us the pygmies when we go out in the world to have any negotiation. This is the map of the city center. It's a bit difficult maybe for you to see. The point I'm just showing this to you is that in the center, can you see, because Luxembourg is being called the Gibraltar of the North. So can you see the structure where, I can't point at it, unfortunately, don't know how it works, meaning it was difficult to conquer, and it used to have, in the medieval times and a time of artillery, when artillery was needed to be shielded with very thick walls. It had a huge fortress that had to be put down in the peace treaties of the Second World War, unfortunately, because it's only very small pieces remain and can be visited. In terms of population, and I'm trying to show you only the nuggets of Luxembourg. There are about 150 nationalities living over here, so it gets sometimes confusing, but we all speak, Luxembourgish, French, whatever comes. In the street, we try to communicate, and there are many, many Portuguese. If you can see, we are the first, in terms of foreigners, because in the 60s, there was a huge demand for let's call it, laboral workers, workers that would work with their hands and wouldn't be very clever. So up till today, the big joke is Portuguese are stupid and can only do construction work and work as cleaning ladies. Anyway, there are many Portuguese, and because of the economic situation in Portugal, they keep coming. Another fact I stumbled upon yesterday, and I was quite shocked. In the past 3 years, Luxembourg, Switzerland, I can't see the other two countries, Liechtenstein and Monaco have been fighting off the first position in terms of wealth. And it's quite astonishing, because when I go up my street, I don't see my rich neighbors except for the rich cars, but it means that this money is not held by the inhabitants. And this was very evident in the lockdown. That doesn't say here, sorry. It was very evident in the lockdown, because suddenly the whole army of kitchen workers who were illegal, not many were illegal, because in Luxembourg there's very strict control, but cleaning ladies, not many were legal. So suddenly there was poverty coming up, which is very sad. In terms of the last figures I saw for unemployment, so unemployment has gone up by 17%, so it must be around 19%. And then there are many other side effects. For people staying indoors, starting to have some pathological problems of isolation. There are people who do suffer, mainly extroverts and empaths. Oh dear, it's 7. So I'll just conclude by saying that Luxembourg has been very good with us. The schools have reopened partially, and the lessons we've learned indoors, where people are starting to bake their own bread, and it only needs 3 ingredients. people are cooking immensely. I mean, lots of people cooking and exchanging recipes. Scooby-Doos are very popular, crocheting, tricoting, and then there's all the audiovisual aspect of Netflix, TikToks, all the sorts. And I'm sorry for not having kept the time. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Margarita. Well, the ending slide seems to be the same internationally. I think over here, we also do the same thing. Okay, people start to have their newfound hobbies, right? Okay, right. Okay, without further ado, come, let's have Kapil to share with us the evaluation feedback. Right, Kapil?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey. And Margarita, thank you for the great presentation. What I understand Margarita wanted to share with us all today was, in brief, she wanted to explain about her country, that's Luxembourg. She did a great job while explaining how the country, where the country is located and everything else about the country, which was really good. And yes, she could explain where it is located, brief about the country, and I really liked the presentation. She wanted actually in 7 minutes, though she says Luxembourg is a very small country, but and no country is small. It has a lot of information to be given out, and these 7 minutes were not enough, but still she did a very good job. And yes, she achieved that in doing what she wanted to do. What advice I would like to give her is like, not to go too much into details of each slide. Like, she used slides very well, but not to go into too details of the slide. And she could have touched a little bit more on places, like the more photographs could have been used. But I know, like, it's a public thing, opportunity, so she used that speaking opportunity well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kapil. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey. It was a great speech by Margarita, and I am supposed to be evaluating her on the time she has taken on each of the three sections: the opening, body, and conclusion, and finally give some advice, or I would say comments. Now, Margarita was talking about her own native country, Luxembourg, and she started off explaining the geography of the country or the city. She in the opening she gave a lot of information about the positioning of the country, the land it occupies, and so many other details. So the opening part was a little extended. I would have really loved if she had actually personalized her speech by saying, I belong to this part of Luxembourg, and around this part is this, and then expanded that area to show us what Luxembourg is all about. So start with some personal impactful data or content, and then expand it so to make it generic so that people can then connect it. So on the opening part, she did pretty well by explaining a lot of things, but I suggest she could have actually taken it step by step by starting up or her own place where she stays or lives or does her business, and then expand it to the geography so it can show us a good transition. The second part she went was directly on to the just one second. Yeah. Second part, she spoke about languages. Now, languages, she did a good job by telling us that there were languages which started around the Second World War, and she explained to us how the European Union was created and things like that. So she made that part very well, and she didn't use much of her time, but because that part was just very basic, so she rushed to that. The next part is on population. She gave a very crisp data on what the population is. Then she spoke about the wealth part of it, and she said a lot of it is Luxembourg is a wealthy country, but it is the inhabitants are not really benefited from that. So the next part, of course, the part was on employment, and she related to the current times of COVID and said it was high on employment, and by this time it was already 7:15, 7 minutes and 15 seconds. So she was actually nearing the deadline time, and she had to rush up. So I would request that the conclusion part, which went very hastily and very fast, could have actually been managed better. So on time management, I would say the opening was a little extended. The body had a lot of inputs, 3 or 4 major points, and then a lot of things, proper things were given. And then at the end, because she extended too much and explained too much, the closing became a little dicey for her to complete within the time. So as the 7 minutes 15 seconds came, she was in a panic state. So I would request Jeffrey to have a better time management in her speech and do a better job next time. I would love to visit Luxembourg. I am from India. I have no idea what this is. So I would look forward to meeting you at Luxembourg. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Valaraja. And guess what? He used exactly 3 minutes 30 seconds, 3 minutes plus 30 seconds for his evaluation speech. Wow. Really watch his time. Just nice. Okay, thank you. Okay, right, good job everybody. Yes. Okay, the next, now about Dr. Kirill. Dr. Kirill means doctor, right? Of course, with a PhD. After earning his PhD in surface and cluster physics from Cambridge University, Dr. Kirill worked for a conglomerate in the semiconductor industry, culminating experiences from R&D, manufacturing, to business and general corporate management. And after earning his MBA from Manchester Business School, he exalted the general manager and director for Edwards Regional HQ in Southeast Asia, where he spearheaded changes and transformed culture that resulted in high-level employee engagement and trust, bring record sales growth. Dr. Kirill is now an adjunct lecturer at the Singapore Polytechnic School of Business and a practicing consultant and facilitator who believes in lifelong learning. He started his public speaking speech with Agora on 13th November 2018. And today, he's going to share what he has learned from COVID-19. Okay, 5 minutes for the green light, timekeeper, 5 minutes for the green light, 6 minutes, the yellow will be out, 7 minutes, the red light. 7 minutes, 30 seconds, audio device will sound and the speaker to end his speech. Okay, now, COVID-19 shows the true colors of human beings. There are many sad stories, but there are also many happy ones too. So while we are busy with our individual lives to cope with the change and isolation, there are always useful observations to take note and learn. Today, he would like to share with us on his personal sightings of the whites among the darkness. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Kirill to us on this topic. What can we learn from COVID-19 about human beings being human? Dr. Kirill, please. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. My dear Agora friends, what can we learn from the COVID-19 pandemic? Some mention there are not enough toilet papers. There must be more assholes than expected, hence the hoarding. The many facets of human beings, the good, the bad, and the ugly were revealed. Fortunately, we don't need to look through assholes to see the light of humankind. There are enough kindness and goodness around us, especially from those who are fighting the battle at the forefront of biological warfare. You know what? You want to know what I learned from their challenges being human? Show me your hand, yes? Good, thank you. Darkness, early in the dawn of the morn. it never ceases to amaze me that no matter what time I go running, whether 5:30 a.m. or 5 a.m., there'll be these people in white uniform seemingly appearing out of nowhere, trickling happily onto the street to face their day. I often wondered, have they taken their breakfast? Or is it even, do they have time for a dump, a luxury only at home? Well, sometimes when I woke up, felt tired, I'll give myself excuses to go back to bed. I've run for the last 3 days, so deserve a break. But these healthcare workers, they don't give themselves any excuses. Once, I remember very, very clearly. It was a little early, and the streets were quiet, empty. I didn't have much time to ponder why. You know why? Boom! The lightning strikes and thunder roars, tearing up the sky and dumping heavy, merciless downpour. Oh no, I'm going to get wet. I should stay at home to sleep, I cheated. But lo and behold, one usual white uniform was on her bike riding head on against the rain beating on her body. And another two were struggling with their brollies, twisting left and right, as if fighting with the weather for their dear life. At that moment, they taught me what is resilience. Rain or shine, they never turn back and give up on their patients. Coronavirus, they're scary, aren't they? Fearless, formidable, deadly with no boundaries. They don't give a hoot who you are, whatever color, age, gender, nationalities. If they can kill you, they will kill you. Are you afraid? Yes? Why are you afraid? Do you knowingly expose yourself to them every day? Are you excited to be donned with personal protection equipment and go into an environment where they could be everywhere to infect you? No, right? So in fact, these healthcare workers, they have every reasons to be very afraid, especially when there's no cure. But they taught me what is bravery. They will not stop to face the virus every day in, day out, until they are immune to the fear, notwithstanding the fact that any moment could be their fatal sacrifice. The patients in the hospital, old, young, fat, thin, handicapped, sickly or in ICU, some probably deserve it for flouting the laws, and it makes you want to punch them. Do you know them? No, but neither do these healthcare workers. But every day, they will never fail to turn up and administer wholesome care for these sickly strangers. They'll give full and undivided attention to ensure the health and recovery of these patients, no matter who they are, local or foreigners, without hesitation. They taught me what truly is unconditional love. No biasness or boundaries, no politics or religion, with no expectations in return. Some might say, they're paid to do the job, right? So take it or leave it. Think of it this way. It's our job to stay at home for these 2 months. But how many have broken the law? How many itchy backsides had persisted to go out unnecessarily? More than 10,000 warnings and more than 500 fines were issued within the first couple of days. We can't even do a simple job well. I have a friend, a nurse, and every morning when she has to leave home, her 5-year-old daughter will be crying, "Mommy, Mommy, please don't go. Please don't leave me, please, please." She had to hold her tears, bite the bullet, turn her back, close the door on the daughter, who's struggling to chase after her. She can only whisper in her heart, "Be brave, okay? Mommy loves you." These healthcare workers, they are not angels, not saints. In fact, many are foreign workers with work permits. They are all doing jobs that you and I, most of Singaporeans, don't aspire to do. But they are like us, human beings, yet at the battlefront, fighting relentlessly for our safety, for our protection. So my friends, these virtues that we can also teach our children, to be resilient and never give up easily with excuses. Bravery is not about doing dares or stupid things to attract attention, but it's about facing up your biggest fear constantly and rise up until you conquer it. And unconditional love is an act of goodness, which the deaf can hear and the blind can see, which you and I can feel, which you and I have from the bottom of our hearts to give freely. These virtues, they have the power to transform you, me, all of us, to persevere in showering kindness and sharing love so that the world continues to be a better place tomorrow. So let us be resilient, brave, and loving. Let us human beings be more human. Bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kirill. What a speech. Yes. All right, let's invite Rehana. And Rehana, I think we also can feel the way you talk. So from a feeling kind of speaker, now a feeling kind of evaluator. Okay, Rehana, welcome.
Okay. So I would say it was an amazing speech. I really was paying attention from beginning to end, and he's very expressive, and the way he had injected the story about the workers, about the nurses, and about the frontliners, it was very heartfelt and very genuine. And I really love the way he, his tone of voice and all the different kind of actions he put. It was very, very nice, and I really enjoyed it. So what did we learn from COVID-19? That was his topic. So did he, yes, he achieved whatever he said he would. He shared with us all the things that we can learn from COVID-19, which is things like resilience, unconditional love, never giving up, bravery, kindness, perseverance, and being fearless, and all the things. And he also gave a comparison about the bad things that COVID-19 brought about, irresponsible people and all that. So he gave a good comparison of that. Overall, I think he did a great job. He achieved whatever he set out to do to prove to us that we can learn something good from COVID-19. So all in all, thank you, Dr. Kirill. Only thing is that he appeared like he was floating in the air. So that was a little bit, I think the background and his clothing were, so it looked like it was a genie. So, but other than that, it was really exciting. Thank you, Dr. Kirill. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Rihanna.
Okay. Thank you, Rihanna, for the feedback. Okay. All right. Next, I saw Sean smiling away throughout the whole presentation, right, Sean? Come over, Sean. Yeah, share us the evaluation feedback.
Hi, hello, good evening, everyone. First thing is, I would like to say Dr. Kirill's presentation today has been very amazing. All right, because I still remember when I first met Dr. Kirill while he's doing his prepared speech. It is monotonous, logical, okay, and it feels that it's a very safe speech. It feels very safe. Okay, but on the other hand, today's for his presentation, right? Okay, he had done a very good job. At the moment, right, I feel like he is like our modern Winston Churchill. So right now he's sharing with us with a lot of emotions, okay, and also with a lot of passion into his speech. Okay, then for me and my part, all right, right now I'll be sharing, okay, about the timing that he has taken. By the way, is everybody able to hear me? Okay, can. Because I saw the timer is not jumping, so maybe I have a lot of minutes grace. Okay, so but I think should be left about 1 minute more. Okay, so for Dr. Kirill, he has spent he has a very good time allocation, okay, for his introduction, body, and conclusion. All right, so for the introduction, it takes about 2 minutes, okay, to create the introduction, okay, on what the topic is all about. Okay, then he also spends a good time in the middle, okay, to share with everyone on what he is trying to share with us. He talks about resilience, talk about selflessness, and he even had allocated the time, you know, well, to show us the flip side. You know, he talks about resilience of the healthcare workers, but yet he talks about, you know, there are some of us, you know, whom are there creating troubles. Okay, then at the end, all right, I thought that he paced quite well too, okay, to give a very emotional conclusion. All right, so for my part, okay, I felt that if there is an advice, you know, I would like to give to Dr. Kirill, probably, okay, maybe somewhere is to shorten the timing a bit, all right, because I noticed the minute is 7 minutes and 14 seconds, all right. I like your conclusion, very emotional, very detailed, all right. I felt the punch, okay, but probably by shortening a bit more, okay, your speech will become very safe. Okay, so this is my evaluation on my part. All right, MC, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean.
Good become better. From not so good become good. We start everybody just save relevant and move on. Okay, so do join us regularly. We all learn together. All right. Okay. Next, we have speaker number 5. Okay, Elsa. Okay, our 2 evaluators would be Anne-Marie. We have Margarita. Good afternoon to you. Wow, good evening to everybody else. Right. Okay. Okay. For the questions again, as a guide for evaluation, refer to the chat room. Okay. Time. Okay. All right. And now for me to introduce Elsa. Okay. Elsa is a queen. Wow. Queen of self-renewal and reinvention. She strongly believes that a bright future awaits you. No matter how many wrong turns you make in life, her own career path features hairpin turns executed with a flair of a Formula One driver. She has worked in advertising, marketing, and public relations, and was a freelance PR consultant for several years before entering the financial services sector. In 2016, she left the financial services sector to start her own online counseling and coaching practice, moneyfitcoach.com. She is a certified psychotherapist with National Council of Psychotherapists, UK, and professional coach with International Coach Federation. Elsa is also the author of the book, When Love and Money Are Gone, True Stories of Women and Financial Independence. Okay, time for the speech is 7 minutes. Okay, 5 green, 6 yellow light, 7 minutes, red will come on, 7 minutes 30 seconds. On time, audio device sound, and the time will end. Okay, now about the topic she's touching on. If you were a young working adult, 20 or even 30 years ago in Singapore, you worked for the 5 C's. You remember the 5 C's? The cash, the car, the condominium, the country club, and the credit cards. How many times have they changed? Are the 5 C's still important today? Should we replace the 5 C's with something else? Right. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elsa Lim to speak to us on this topic. The one thing you need in your life. Elsa.
What is the one thing that will help you overcome any challenge, protect you against serious illnesses, and guarantee you a life of satisfaction and joy? Now, some of you will say that that one thing is love. After all, love overcomes everything, isn't it? But it's not love, even though love is very important. The one thing that you need in your life is mental strength. So good evening, everyone. My name is Elsa Lim, and in 2016, I became a psychotherapist and a coach after spending 15 years in the financial industry as a financial advisor, because I have this burning desire to help people to become mentally strong. Now, what is mental strength? Mental strength has nothing to do with your intellect, your talent, your skills, or your qualifications, but it has everything to do with your ability to understand yourself deeply and to be able to cope with your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. A person who is mentally strong is able to handle all types of criticism, failures, and setbacks without attacking herself. When you have mental strength, you do not see yourself as a victim. Neither do you always have to seek constant approval and validation from people around you. Now, I learned about mental strength the hard way. Many of you would have spent Mother's Day beginning of this month. And come June, you will be celebrating Father's Day. As for me, I have never celebrated these events in my entire life because when I was 9 years old, my parents split up. When I was 14, we were not living under the same roof. And by the time I reached 20, my parents were gone. My parents had a very difficult marriage. For one thing, my mother was prone to wild mood swings. One moment she was happy, she was up, and the next moment she would crash and become like a devil. People said that my mother was crazy, but today we have another term for this condition, bipolar disorder. My mom, however, was a very talented woman who felt that her talents were wasted in Asia. She wanted a more exciting life in Europe. So she did the unthinkable. When my youngest brother was only 4 years old, my mother decided to divorce my father, pack her bags, and leave all of us without looking back. So my father became a single dad. He worked very hard and was fairly successful as an architect in his small practice. But then in 1970s, a major financial crisis wiped him out. He lost everything that he had put into his business. He ran out of cash and he was heavily indebted. My father was never really the same after that. He tried to pick up the pieces, but he could not. The mental stress got to him, so much so that he had a stroke. And very soon, and not long after that, he had a fatal heart attack. He was only 49. Now, 2 years before my father's death, I heard that my mom had done the unthinkable. She had committed suicide. She was just 43. Evidently, her dreams of a better life in Europe did not work out, and she must have plunged into the deepest, darkest despair. Now, when I look at my parents' stories, I realize that they were both standing at the edge of the abyss. And when they fell into that abyss, they were not able to pull themselves out. They simply didn't have the mental strength. Coming from a conservative Asian society where mistakes and failures are seen in a very negative light, my parents suffered in silence and they paid with their lives. Now, today, I don't think the tragic story of my parents is special or unique. All around us, we see tragedies happening, all because people just couldn't grapple with their negative thoughts and emotions. We even hear of young children killing themselves because they get a grade B or grade C in their exam paper, or because their friends said something nasty about them on Facebook. Let's face it, we live in a society where becoming popular, becoming a high achiever is the only thing that matters. And if you're none of those, you end up feeling very useless and worthless. That's why mental strength is so important. Because with mental strength, you can harness the power of your mind to overcome anything. You know how to cope with negative emotions like fear, anger, sorrow, frustration, and shame. And that's why mental strength is your ally and your protector, especially in these times of COVID-19, when the world is upside down, where there's a great deal of upheaval and disruption that is coming. But I understand that pulling yourself out of a deep, dark hole is sometimes impossible. It can only be done with time. It can only be done with support. And therefore, this is where I come in. The support that I couldn't offer to my parents, I want to offer to you, because I strongly believe that your good days are ahead of you if you are mentally strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What a speech. Mental strength. Okay, strong. Definitely not easy, right? Okay, come, let's have our feedback from evaluators. Okay, number one, Anne-Marie, invite you.
Elsa, I'm really touched by your speech, and really thank you for trusting us to share about your parents' history with us. To me, the image of a phoenix came to my mind as you were speaking, because it is truly through ashes and until we can die to ourselves that we can find that strength that is inside of us to move on. And if we do not have that, we cannot help others. And that's why I can see the mental strength in you, that you can help others. Like this chain that I'm wearing, any gold, any metal needs to go through the furnace of fire and perish into ashes and be purified before we can move on. And Elsa, to me tonight, you really did that. I truly applaud you and admire you for sharing with us. Mental strength. Both your parents went through really hell, and your mother, as you said, the bipolar disorder, your dad, the financial sufferings, and you were not there to pick up the pieces for them. And this is the theme of your speech, because having gone through all that, you now get that strength to see beyond the 5 C's, to move on, to really help us. And I think that is so interesting, so intriguing, and so involving, and also inclusive of all of us, because we all have issues that we can and need to deal with. Now, some advice, I could see that you were at 7:49. So maybe next time you may wish to structure your speech a little bit more so that you leave more time to anchor the conclusion. At the very beginning, you mentioned looking at satisfaction and joy. Maybe you can play with rhetorical devices a bit and maybe look at a parallelism of satisfaction and serenity, joy and jubilance. Play a little bit with that as well. And your speech was very heavy, but maybe you can lighten it up a bit by looking at the 5 C's, because my students are telling me it's not the 5 C's anymore, it's the 5 B's. Hello, it's not a condo, it's a bungalow. It's not any old car, it's a Mercedes or a Bentley or a Benz. So you can liven it up and then, you know, move in and out, because with any speech, if it is too tight, it gets tighter and tighter. And even in a play or movie, it's good to move in and out and use a little bit of humor to lighten that up. So my 2 cents worth for you, add rhetorical devices, pace it a little bit with humor, and space anchor your ending. But thank you very much for that. And back to you, our commando of the night.
Thank you very much.
Thank
now,
you.
What I couldn't see what 5 C's Elsa got, but I saw 1 C, conviction, to help others. That C is real strong, right? Okay, next, event number 2. Good afternoon. I always see I must say good afternoon. Take over, Margarita.
Thank you so much indeed. It's quite early over here. Thank you, Jeffrey, and most importantly, thank you, Elsa, for this speech of yours. It was very personal, and I could feel your pain. These are, I mean, I'm just going to get into the dry analysis of Agora speeches. The personal speeches are the best because we can feel the pain, we can feel the journey of the speaker. And I could also feel that you are an experienced speaker as well, because it was very well structured. I have nothing really to say in terms of the parts. You did lose unwantedly the 20 seconds at the beginning that you could have had at the end. But that was just a technical itch. I agree with Anne-Marie. Sorry for the light that's coming out of my window behind my head. The sun is on this side. What I wanted to say, I agree with Anne-Marie, that in terms of the sequence of the speech, if you can bring the audience back when you at the end, because it's a very heavy story, very beautiful, very heavy. If you can bring us up again in terms of energy, that we can be more, how can I say, receptive to the next speeches and to the sequence of this meeting. Otherwise, in terms of technicality, I loved the way you use your hands. I loved the way you look into the camera. Obviously, you're used to having speeches in front of a video conference. You did live the role of your person. You explained very well and not in too much detail, so I could follow the structure of your speech. I'm 49, so I hope I don't suffer like your father. I just came out of my own breakdown because of confinement and lockdown, but I'm coming out of it, and now we can all get out of the house again. I love the way you articulate. You are very clear, and the voice projects beautifully. There was vocal variety. Of course, when the subject is heavy, the vocal variety goes down because we are more in pain. But it came over to me. All in all, in terms of structure, in terms of projection, in terms of the subject mainly, I congratulate you, and your message came through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margarita, for your feedback. Right. Good. We are doing very well on time. Fantastic. Okay. And the next part, test time. This segment will be conducted by young man, Wilson Low. When I say young man, we are old lady, old man. I'm not too sure. Okay, by the way, 50, 53, I don't know. I just feel young. Age is just a number, right? Okay, treat yourself well, always feel good and feel young. Okay, now Wilson. Well, this young man, he's the guy with the perfect imperfection. As the perfect imperfect guy, he's imperfect, and yet his imperfections make him unique and as authentic as he can be. He believes that there will be flaws in every perfection we perceive, and there's beauty in every imperfection that we see. And he chooses to focus on the uniqueness of every human being. Wilson is a practitioner of Chinese astrology called the Bazi. Wow, Bazi, you know Bazi? 8 characters. The Bazi. Okay, Bazi profiling system. And he uses that to help people discover their hidden strengths, unleash their potential, and maximize their impact in various areas in life. He does not consider himself as a master or teacher. He sees himself as a learner who's passionate about sharing the techniques to apply the ancient arts in the modern context with practical solutions to help people thrive in the game of life. Now, about the test. We already know that the speeches will be a waste of time, waste of everybody's time, if we cannot remember what the speakers presented, if we can understand the presentation, and if we do not believe the speakers. The speakers, they themselves cannot improve when feedback to the speakers was not understood, and when speakers cannot remember the feedback. So the purpose of the test is to discover whether we learned something tonight, all of us, whether we learned something tonight. So tonight will be well spent if and only if we pass the test. Okay, the test 15 minutes. 13 minutes, the green lights will be on. 14 minutes, yellow light. And 15 minutes, red light. Okay, for test, the tester to give us the final questions, and for of us to feel a sense of relief. Oh, the test is going to be over. 15 minutes plus 30 seconds, and the test will end. All right. Without further ado, Mr. Youngman, Wilson.
Okay, so it's a test time. No worry, it's just very simple questions. Okay, the first one, at Casey's opening address about the story of getting the sutra, so and so forth. What is the message of Casey's story?
Wilson, you have to answer because there's an echo.
A lot of feedback.
Is it? What is the message of Casey's opening address? You can unmute yourself to answer the question.
Can I say?
Yeah, Shana.
Yes. So Casey was saying that it's not the sutra that's the goal, but it's the journey that's all about, because it's the experience that's going to be your teacher, and it's actually all about the journey and not the sutra itself, but it's all about the journey, because the sutra, when you get there, it's almost the end, or maybe there's furthermore, but it's the journey that it's all about.
Yes, that's right. Wonderful. You got the message. So the key point is it's not the sutra that gives us the life lessons, but it's the journey itself. The journey is the mission. All right, thank you, Shona. Okay, then we move on to the impromptu speech by Denise. So there are 5 questions, and the first topic was, what is one valuable skill or thing that you learned beyond your school education? And the person who chose this was Kapil. So, based on your memory, what is the one skill that Kapil learned beyond his school education?
Learning how to learn.
Yeah.
Learning how to learn.
Yes, that's right. The skill of learning. Okay, the second question, should both parents take equal responsibility for raising their children? And Lawrence picked the question. So who can remember what's the main point of Lawrence sharing?
I'm
Lawrence
married. Both parents equally have to take the responsibility.
Right. Mary, yes. Both parents have to take equal responsibility. And also he mentioned that there is no one best way to raise their children. Because there's no school of parenting, and every parents have their unique styles of raising their children, and they learn from the process. Okay, move on to, thank you, Mary. And the third question, yeah, so Cindy shared with us one happy thing which happened recently. What was that happy thing?
She lost weight.
Who is that?
You meet Jeff.
Kostav.
Hi, Kostav.
And I think she has a target of reaching 50 kg. She knows many things now in terms of nutrition.
Right. Yes. She was very happy because she met Jeffrey, who can mentor her into embark on this slimming journey, and her goal is to slim down to 50 kilogram. Right. Thank you, Kostav. Okay. A dog is a man's best friend. Do you agree with this? So there were two persons, Thomas and Jeffrey, and one agree and another one disagree. Why did Thomas agree that dog is a man's best friend?
Because he had a dog which passed away. Sorry.
He has a dog.
It's God. Dog opposite spelled is God.
Right. Who is that?
The
Captain?
dog waits for him every evening.
Yeah.
When he comes home.
Yeah, and the dog is even more excited.
Then
Yeah, than his
child.
Yes, his children and wife. Okay, and why did Jeffrey disagree that dog is a man?
He says like if someone is your best friend, then you should be able to carry him everywhere, and dog you're not able to carry everywhere.
Right.
And so people are his best friends. Agora friends are his best friends, not dogs.
Yeah.
Actually, his best friend is mobile.
When he's alone.
He never mentioned alone or together, so that is something we need to ask him. But he was showing it, waving it, like my mobile is my best friend.
Right, so body gesture does work. Yeah, so he mentioned that friends are somebody that go through different phases of life, and he has different groups of best friends in the different stages and different circles in life. Okay, the last question. Fiction cannot teach us anything about living in the real world. Do you agree? So Sylvia agree, okay? And what did Sylvia share with us about this?
The experience in life is more important, is the one that really teaches us about life.
Right. Yes, thank you, Dr. Kirill. So Sylvia mentioned that she shared the story of her mother sharing her story and the life lessons with her during her ups and downs. Great. All of you have been paying good attention. Okay, then we move on to speech. The first speech, Distant Healing, Does It Really Work? By Betty. Okay, and what is the right? Okay, what is the healing method that Betty practiced?
Pranic healing.
How many countries is this pranic healing practice over the world?
Many countries.
Yeah, it's over 120 countries. Okay, can you guys still remember the 3 distant healing experience of Betty? The 3 these instances where she practiced this pranic healing. The first one?
Nosebleed.
Yeah. Whose nosebleed?
The daughter.
Order.
Yeah, all the way back, all the way in Ohio. That's the first one. How about the second one?
Emotional depression.
Right, emotional depression. Yes, and the third one?
Unblocked energy.
Yes, unblock energy and therefore help the person relieve the pain. Okay, great. And question for Betty. Hi Betty, are you there?
Yes.
Hi Betty. Yes.
Hi.
Do you still remember the based on the evaluation by Diana?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What is one point that Diana mentioned?
She mentioned a couple of things. One of them is that I'm able to attract attention on the
Right.
topic. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And also Bhavesh shared that you are able to articulate the crux of the distant healing. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Thomas, are you there? Hi, Thomas. Thomas is not there. Okay.
No, he went to look for his dog.
Maybe went to walk the dog.
Right. Okay. We'll come back to that later. And speech number 3 is talking about Luxembourg in Europe. So by Margarita. So what is the population of this country, in this small country in Europe?
600,000.
Yes, 600,000. Yes, it's about
1/10.
One third of Singapore, right? 1/10. You are right.
1/10 of Singapore.
Yeah, 1/10 of Singapore. In terms
Land
of size,
area,
I think size
3
it was
times.
3 times, and in terms of income per capita is double. Yeah, so all interesting figures.
Wow, Costa, do you remember this or do you?
No, the numbers actually I have a better memory.
Wow, wonderful, man. I actually wrote it down, but you remember by just listening.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, I think I have preempted all your questions.
Right. And you can read my mind, right? All right. And Margarita, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Hi.
Hi, yes.
Bravo to Costa.
Yes. And what is Kapil's advice for you?
To not to go so much into detail about, sorry, my voice has been like this for 2 months now.
Right.
Not to go so much into detail, to mind my time, manage my time better, distribute my parts, the 3 parts of my speech better. That was Kapil.
Right.
And
yeah, Varadarajan.
He was amazing as well. He advised me to start with the personal aspect of my life and then expand it to the totality of Luxembourg, explain where I live so that you could have a perspective of
yes, fantastic, fantastic.
So I live in the center near the station.
Right. Thank you, Margarita.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, then we have Dr. Kiro's speech on human beings and being human. What are the 3 lessons, the 3 virtues that we can learn from these healthcare workers that Dr. Kiro has mentioned?
Resilience.
Yes, resilience.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. And one more.
There were a few. I mean, never
Bravery.
Yeah, bravery. Thank you very much. Okay. So and yeah, he mentioned that and the healthcare worker goes to work tirelessly every morning, rain or shine. And this is a part of resilience. Bravery conquer their fear of the virus and the death, unconditional but care for anyone regardless of their background and differences. Fantastic. Okay. And so in Elsa's speech, what is the one thing that we need in life to protect us?
Mental strength.
Mental strength.
Yes. And what is mental strength? What is mental strength?
Rise above all adversities and having someone with time and ability to support you.
Right. And Mary, yes. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Wilson. Great session.
Yeah. Yes. So that is just to share a bit. Yeah. So mental strength and its ability to understand yourself deeply and to cope with your thoughts and behaviors, especially when you are feeling the negative emotion. Okay. So that is about it. Our test session is coming to the end. Over to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Wilson. Don't you think he's a wonderful tester?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Great session.
Awesome, right? Because if I'm the tester today, if I'm the tester today, I'll ask the most frivolous question. Because what I can remember about is, what did the dog do when Thomas reached the house? Dog waved the tail. I can only remember about Dr. Killer mentioned about the nurse carrying brollies. And then now I know, constant spot questions for exams. Right. This is me at the lightest moment. I remember the most frivolous things. Right. Anne-Marie, talk about which animal? Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Ashes. Other things I can't remember already. All right. Okay. We are do very well on time today. Okay. Next is closing address. But before that, there's some airtime, some announcement from Sean. Okay.
All right, so everyone, I would like to share this announcement, especially for the speakers. Okay. Recently, okay, we have been Agora Speakers Club Singapore. Okay, has been looking for ways, all right, to help the speakers to reach out, you know, to many audiences, and also at the same time for them an opportunity to market themselves. All right. So what happens is that, you know, sometimes we might when we come over to give a speech over Agora, right? Okay, we might have a standing ovulation on our speech. Yeah, but most of the time we also know that after when the session ends, two things can happen. You know, does the audience really remembers us? And does the audience remembers what we talked about? All right. So what happens is that my team and I, okay, is coming up with this initiative called Agora Notes. All right. So what happens is that we are using this platform, all right, offered only to the prepared speech speakers, all right, so that for prepared speech speakers, right, after your speech, all right, within this 1 week, you will have the opportunity, all right, to use our Facebook page as a platform, all right, to condense the speech and the content you have talked about into a newsletter, so that it can be shared, broadcast, okay, on our Facebook page, all right. Then at the same time, you also can use these materials to further your marketing. All right. So we have some of the examples. Okay, like for example, let me show you. Okay, I heard that the share screen is working. Yeah. Okay. So for last week, Rihanna is our speaker. Okay, she was sharing with us on the secrets of being happy. So at the end of the day, you know, this is a template, you know, that we had created for our speakers and our members. All right. So if you wish your content, okay, or you wish your services, your products, you know, to be reached out to even more audience and to our members, all right. Number one, please volunteer, okay, for a prepared speech speaker, okay, for the next session. All right. Then after the session, especially for today's session, right, those who have spoken today, come and look for me. All right, let me know you would like to embark onto this journey. Okay, let me know by tomorrow afternoon, 12 noon. All right, so that from then on, then I'll let you guys know, okay, how to do about it and how can we proceed. All right, so in case for today's speakers, you wish to know, jot down my number. Okay, my number is 91888048. All right, I'm in the Agora Speakers group and the Ideas Exchange group. All right, so you can find me there. Speakers today, if you wish to be embarked on this journey, do let me know. All right, MC, back to you.
All right, thank you, Sean. Don't you think the poster is so beautiful? Very professionally done, and that's what Agora can do for all of us. So do come join us. Use this platform. Agora Notes can help all of you, all of us, a lot. Okay? Right, next. For the closing speech, closing address, we have Hostel, and he also let people call him KD to deliver the closing address. Okay? Right. Okay. Time allowed 15 minutes. 5 minutes will be green, 10 minutes will be yellow, and 15 minutes will be red. Okay. All right. We already know KD. Actually, all the times he also involved in as a time master, and today he's going to do the closing address. Okay. KD, take over.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm honored, and I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes, can hear you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm honored and humbled to be called upon to deliver the closing speech today. Truth to be told, I think Casey mistook me for who got talent contest winner. He possibly felt I have won that contest winner. So now all of you are stuck hearing me for the next 10 to 12 minutes. I'll do my best not to bore you to death on a weekend, late evening, or maybe a weekend more afternoon, where you are located, based on where you are located. And I'll not give you a rambling speech, of course. Honestly, today's session was like watching a Hollywood thriller for me, where I'm on the edge almost every moment, curious to know what is next. First of all, kudos to the young and gorgeous Dennis Ong. Right from the impromptu topic selection to the slides backdrop to the way she engaged the speakers. Terrific job. Well delivered.
Thank you.
I'm also sure impromptu speakers had fun thinking on their feet, be it reminding the next health goal of 50 kg or how the dog is more important than the family, or even for somebody, how the mobile is the best friend. I'm sure Jeffrey's partner may not be all jolly mood once she discovers who his real soulmate is. So Jeffrey, be cautious. And the next speaker, Thomas, really opened up our minds when he said the 5G is just not an incremental change from 2G to 3G to 4G, but it's a quantum leap. It's difficult to even visualize. But when he said that AI is going to eat a lot of our current day job, the way we know it, be it the bus drivers, it actually scares us. It actually also brings us the memories and the haunting memories of pain. However, thanks to Betty's magical healing process, we know all pains can be healed. Such a heartwarming first-person account, I must say. All of us were moved while she was narrating her struggles from the pain while being treated at Raffles Hospital. And it was so great, and I was so glad to learn how she overcame those horrifying days. It's an amazing turnaround story, delivered with the right kind of emotion. Great job, Betty. It was really moved me personally. And the next moment, it was really a wonderful journey to a rich country. I have been to all the countries around and saw her palace in Paris, but never been to her country. That's called Luxembourg. Now, thanks to Margarita, I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. We certainly know how wealthy your country is. And no pun intended. She also beautifully helped us visualize her country, comparing with our very own red dot, and also without even having us to leave our chair. It's a great job. Thank you for introducing to your beautiful country where a lot of space and empty space that you love. Next, when we move to the Elsa, must have brought us many of our childhood memories. It may not be pleasant for all the time for all of us. It was a moment of reflection. The difficult phases she had gone through, where she lost both of her parents at the tender age of 20, I really salute her resilience and courage. She is a living testimony of British wartime Prime Minister Winston Churchill's one famous quote. The quote is something like, if you are going through hell, keep going, which actually implies you one become mentally strong and resilient. And in her own word, in Elsa's word, it's like good days are ahead of you. What a courageous story. You are absolutely right. Nowadays, people actually just commit suicide when actually say they find some kind of unsavory comments in Facebook or some other friends have not been friendly with them, or somebody has just scored some poor marks. They should really take some inspiration what a person can go through when her parents have difficulties. It's such an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing this story with us. It takes a lot of courage to come and speak in front of the strangers, bearing your heart. Really salute you. Finally, last but not the least, listening to Dr. Kirel was a different experience altogether. Last time, I was very closely working with him as a timekeeper while he was the MC, but today it was altogether different experience. And when he was sharing and talking so empathetically about the healthcare worker, I could relate to my own life, not just for being the life partner of a frontline healthcare worker, bravely serving her job, but also the passion that he brought in the topic while speaking made me emotional, made a lot of us emotional. I am sure at many of us who are still a little bit irresponsible, just go out of home for the heck of going out, will reduce so that those people who are selflessly working out for our benefit are not get impacted. Thank you, Dr. Kirel, for your empathetic sharing today. And finally, as we move on, what a wonderful feedback session we had today. Be it Bhavesh or Chong Lim or Angela or Vardarajan or Kapil, Sean, everyone, wow, they brought different level of thinking, different kind of perspectives. And of course, I must mention Annie, and I remember her lovely background. And Rihanna, what a lovely jingle that you played when Jeffrey introduced you. Must applaud that. It was really a good one. And it also made me feel just sitting on my home, even without moving, a person can get such a wonderful feedback, not only from his own close community, but from people, professional across the world. These are different point of views. It actually opens up our mind how a person can be benefited. These are rich inputs. And finally, it must be an amazing learning experience for all the speakers today. Moving on, Wilson, you really did a lovely job. I loved our youngest test master. He not only curated the questions beautifully, but also managed the timing well. It was an absolutely enjoyable moment. The first time when I came here, I was literally trying to hide my face. Oh, I don't even know. And today I was like, wow, let me go for it. Thank you, Wilson. And lastly, few words of gratitude to the people behind the curtains without whom we may not have this wonderful gathering today. First of all, Carlson, who's painstakingly managed today's timer. I know how meticulous one need to be a timekeeper while they remain behind the white, green, and red background. Carlson, a big clap for you for today's effort. Moving on to Jeffrey, the flamboyant speaker whom I know in person was a different avatar today. You wonderfully managed the timing, and thank you, Jeffrey, for helping us close before time. And he not only managed the timing well, he honorably introduced each of the speakers, engaged the listeners, and conducted the show in a textbook style. Great job, Jeff. This is now becoming a benchmark for the next MC in the next session. Great job, dear. Casey. He is a guy who keeps working continuously to make the event take place. The sheer amount of effort that he invested to hold this meeting is unimaginable. He keeps going and going and going with a nice, lovely smile. A big pat on his back for his indomitable resolve. And finally, our beloved president, Mr. Gia. I didn't hear him apart from the last moment when he was asking Sean to share his screens with, I think, Casey. So I know that Mr. Gia is here. So thank you, Mr. Gia, for not only creating this platform, but also keeping us, providing the guidance, support, and the insight for helping us keep going. Our big thank you to you, sir, for giving us all this opportunity. Please accept our heartfelt namaste. It's an Indian. Merci. It's a Luxembourg English, I believe. Xie, and thank you. Thank you, everybody. Over to you, MC.
All right. Thank you, Costa, for the wonderful closing address. Well, as MC, this is my first time. I think I really enjoyed the session. I do learn a lot. Okay. I'm just a front. Behind this moment of this few hours facing you and running through, there's a big engine behind. Mr. Gay for the mentorship, and Casey working on, coordinating behind. Yeah, really lots of work behind, and the passion to bring forth the sessions to us. Okay, right. I also saw Wilson do the hard part, the test, but Kostov do the soft part and tell us all about all the nuances behind how people bring forth. Really a wonderful feeling today. Fantastic. All right. We have completed all items for business for today, and I think we are do very well on time. Okay. Thank you for contributing for this
interrupting you
learning experience. Yes.
Before we close, let's give Jeffrey a big round of applause.
Woo! Right. Thank you for the opportunity too.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Okay, with that, we're going to end the day. And remember, the next club meeting is on Tuesday, 26th of May. Those who wish to speak or to hold meeting appointments, take on some roles, we will learn a lot about the experience. Please inform Bumping or Casey early. Okay, those who wish to leave, may log out now.